So this next section of the video is going to deal with hymns where the time signature changes. So hymn number 13, An Angel from on High, begins in 6/8 with the slow pattern, where the pattern is like this, and then it changes not only time signatures, but it gets a little bit faster. The tempo marking for the 6/8 portion is eighth note equals 92 to 108, and the metronome marking for the 4/4 section is quarter note equals 100 to 116. So you don't have to change tempos, but it says with spirit when it goes to the 4/4 time, so it would probably be appropriate. So let me just demonstrate how you would do this. I'll start from these gracious words he spoke. These gracious words he spoke, low in Camora's lonely hill. So you see it's just a little bit faster, and we change from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, spoke, 2, 3, 4, and so we give the release and the preparatory beat in one motion. These gracious words he spoke, low in Camora's. So that one motion is like we do the fermata, like we had talked about earlier. Spoke, low in so your release goes out on 3, so your preparatory beat is on 3, and then the first word is 4, or low on beat 4. Okay, so that's a little bit tricky, but work on that. The next one, of course, is Come, Come Ye Saints. We've talked about this one before. So it changes from 4/4 to 3/4. Come, come, ye saints, no toil nor labor fear, but with joy wend your way. And back to 4/4. Though hard to you this journey may appear. Back to 3/4. Grace shall be as your day. 'Tis better far for us to strive. So you've got that fermata there. As your day. 'Tis better far for us to strive. And then it keeps that time signature for the rest of the hymn. There are some others that I'd just like to mention. Hymn number 34, O Ye Mountains High, has just a section where it goes into 2/4 for just one bar, coming from a 4/4. And then hymn number 233, Nay Speak No Ill, is another one that you have to watch there. The next thing I'd like to talk about are the road signs, the repeats. Most hymns don't have them, but occasionally you'll see a first and a second ending, or even a first, a second, and a third ending. The first one we'll look at is Called to Serve. It's hymn number 249. And you notice the last 2 measures, there is a 1, which has a line over it for one measure, and then the last measure, it has a 2 with a line over it. You'll also notice that in the measure that has the 1, there are 2 dots. As you see in this image, this means repeat. Now, in this particular hymn, if we look for any other repeat signs that would look like this, that would mean that you would go back to that repeat sign. But if there are no other repeat signs, then the rule is you just go back to the beginning. So after Called to Serve Our King, it goes right back to the second verse. And then when you get to the first ending while singing the second verse, you skip the first ending and you sing the second ending to conclude. So that's one of them. There's also one, if you look on hymn number 325, See the Mighty Priesthood Gathered. This is in 4/4, but you'll notice on the second page, the second line, there is a 1 dot and then a 2 dot with a line going over top of it. So these two measures are both the first ending and the second ending. So you sing it at the end of the first verse and at the end of the second verse. And then you go back, since there are no other repeat signs earlier in the piece, you go back to the beginning, and when you come to the third verse, you skip the first and the second ending, and you go to the third ending and sing the rest of the hymn. So I call those the road signs. You need to be able to understand those. One other one on hymn number 230, Scatter Sunshine. Now this one, with the repeat sign, you don't go back to the beginning, because you notice at the end of the first ending, there is the repeat sign with the 2 dots before the bar line. But you notice on the first page, the last line, there's a repeat sign, 2 dots after the bar line. So in this instance, after you sing the first ending, every passing day, you don't go back to the beginning, but you go back to the bottom line on the first page, Scatter Sunshine. And then as you finish, you skip the first ending and go to the second ending. So those are some road signs that you need to be familiar with. One other hymn that you need to look at for road signs is hymn number 300, Families Can Be Together Forever. You notice on the first line, it has actually an introduction written in. This is very unusual, because usually the organist just plays the introduction based on where the vertical lines are to begin the introduction, or the horizontal lines, and where the horizontal lines are to end it. That's usually the introduction, but here it's different. The composer has written a 4-measure introduction. So here you come to the first ending on the third line on the second page, and it's 2 measures on the word can. So usually the congregation just holds it for a couple of beats, and then the organist finishes that first ending, and then you go back, and she doesn't play, or he doesn't play the introduction again, but they go where they have those 2 dots after the bar line. So you repeat back to there. And again, after you've gone through and sung the second verse, has shown me how I can, you skip the first ending and then go to the second ending. So that's another road sign.